back, students, to your English class. My name is Luzmilda. I am from Bonito Oriental, Colón, and I'm so glad to be here with you. Today's topic is unreal conditional sentences with if clauses, negative and interrogative form. This class is for 10th graders, so please pay attention and let's start. Bienvenido de nuevo estudiantes a esta clase de inglés. Mi nombre es Luzmilda y estoy muy agradecida de estar con ustedes. El tema de hoy es oraciones con el condicionante irreal en su forma negativa e interrogativa. Esta clase es para alumnos de 10º grado, así que por favor presten mucha atención. Empecemos. Remember guys, stay at home, put on your face mask to cover your nose and mouth, and always wash your hands. Our objectives are: number 1, learn about the uses of unreal conditional with if clauses in negative and interrogative sentences. Aprender sobre el uso del condicionante irreal utilizando if. Number 2, develop some negative and interrogative sentences using the unreal conditional with if clauses. Desarrollar algunas oraciones negativas e interrogativas usando el condicionante irreal. Let's start. Today we will talk about unreal conditional in negative and interrogative sentences. Hoy hablaremos del condicionante real en oraciones negativas e interrogativas. If you remember, in the previous class, we learned that the unreal conditional is used to refer to unreal, imaginary, or impossible condition, and the results using the clause if with the verb in simple past. And in the result clause, we use the modal auxiliary verbs would, might, or could, and the main verb in the infinitive form without to. Si ustedes recuerdan, en la clase anterior aprendimos que las oraciones con el condicional irreal se usan para referirse a condiciones irreales, imaginarias o imposibles, y sus resultados, usando en la cláusula la condición, el verbo en el pasado simple, y en la cláusula de resultado utilizamos los verbos modales would, might o could, y el verbo principal en su forma infinitiva sin el to. Here we have negative form with one negative clause. Number 1, if I were in New York, I wouldn't meet you. Si yo estuviera en Nueva York, yo no te conocería. Number 2, if you were a poor man, you couldn't buy anything. Si tú fueras un hombre pobre, tú no podrías comprar nada. If we weren't astronauts, we might be teachers. Si nosotros no fuésemos astronautas, nosotros seríamos docentes. Now guys, repeat after me please. Number 1, if I were in New York, I couldn't meet you. Okay, excellent. Number 2, repeat after me. If you were a poor man, you couldn't buy anything. Very good. Number 3, if we weren't astronauts, we might be teachers. Excellent. Let's continue. Okay. We can also use the negative form in both clauses. También se pueden utilizar la forma negativa en ambas cláusulas. Por ejemplo, number 1, if you weren't rich, I wouldn't travel around the world. Si yo no fuese rico, yo no viajaría alrededor del mundo. Ustedes pueden observar que en ambos son negativos. Antes de la coma y después de la coma. Number 2. If I didn't win the lottery, I wouldn't buy a new car. Si no ganara la lotería, no me compraría un auto nuevo. Number 3. If he were not tall, he wouldn't be a model in the United States. Si él no fuese alto, él no sería modelo en los Estados Unidos. Now guys, repeat after me the sentences, please. Number 1. If I weren't rich, I wouldn't travel around the world. Excellent. Number 2. If I didn't win the lottery, I wouldn't buy a new car. Very good. Number 3. If he were not tall, he wouldn't be a model in the United States. Excellent. You are great students. Now guys, we are going to talk about interrogative form. To make questions, the formula is question words like what, where, how, plus auxiliary, plus verb, infinitive, plus if, plus verb, simple past, remember, and questions mark. Vamos a formar preguntas utilizando la fórmula con palabras de preguntas como cuál, por qué, dónde, más el auxiliar, más el verbo infinitivo, más if, más el verbo en pasado simple y por último el signo de interrogación. For example, number 1. What would you do if you won the lottery? I will buy a house. ¿Qué harías si ganaras la lotería? Yo compraría una casa. Number 2. Where would you live if you moved to the US? I will live in Seattle. Here we have another examples. If you had any superpower, what would it be? Si pudieras tener algún superpoder, ¿cuál sería? Next. What would you do if you spoke English perfectly? ¿Qué harías si pudieras hablar inglés perfectamente? Imagine, guys. Next. If you won the lottery, what would you buy? Si ganaras la lotería, ¿qué comprarías? Many things, guys. Next. If you change one thing about your past, what would you change? Si cambiarías una cosa de tu pasado, ¿qué cambiarías? Imagine, guys. Now repeat after me. If you had any superpower, what would it be? Very good. Next, what would you do if you spoke English perfectly? Very good. If you won a lottery, what would you buy? Very good. Next, if you changed one thing about your past, what would you change? Excellent. Now guys, we are going to practice with a game. What would you do if? Imagine what would you do if you practice all these activities. Complete the sentence as you advance. For example, the number 1. If you had a pot of gold, what would you do? ¿Qué harían si tuvieran un tarro de oro? ¿Qué comprarían? ¿Lo venderíamos? Imagine. Here we have another sentence. If you knew Japanese, what would you do? Si conocieran un japonés, ¿qué harían? If you were a superhero like Spider-Man, for example, ¿qué harían si fueran como el hombre araña? Imagine. Now imagine if you have children, what would you do? Here we have another. If you were the President of the United States, what would you do? Imagine. Or if you made a great invention, what would you do? Imagine. Okay, guys. Now we have here another sentence. Now we have another here. If you rob a bank, imagine. Excellent thinkings. You will buy food, clothes. Okay. Excellent, guys. Please copy all that in your notebooks. Okay, guys. Here we have the homework. In your notebook, complete the sentences by writing the correct missing word. Remember, you can use would, might, or could in the result clause. And in the conditional clause, the verb in simple past. Here we have at the end of the sentences, in the parentheses, negative or interrogative. Okay? If I were you, I talk about that with her. La haríamos esa en negativo. Al final de la oración tenemos entre paréntesis qué tipo de oración es la que vamos a formar, si es negativa o interrogativa. ¿Sí? Recuerden utilizar las cláusulas. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you had fun during this lesson. Remember, we want you studying at home. Take care of yourself and your family. See you in the next class. Bien, es tiempo de despedirnos. Gracias por mirar este video y espero que se hayan divertido durante este aprendizaje. Recuerden, los queremos estudiando en casa. Cuídense y cuiden a sus familias. Nos vemos en la siguiente clase.